There are lots of things moving in the background for the Kansas City Chiefs as far as different trade acquisitions perhaps coming up to speed, draft picks that might be maturing at the right time, Xavier Worthy hopefully figuring out how to get 2 feet in bounds, and also players returning from injury. If you read the tea leaves, you can find the omen going forward for the Kansas City Chiefs. But can you find the Omenihu? Welcome to another episode where we will be talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. It's the only thing I talk about on this channel. We have an article today from Arrowhead Pride titled Question of the Week: Who is needed more, Charles Omenihu or Isaiah Pacheco? Subtitled, Two of Kansas City's important contributors are soon expected to be returning from their injuries, written by Nate Christensen. I'm not sure this is even a question. As much I am as big a fan of Isaiah Pacheco as the next guy, I don't think that the defense looks the same this year as it did last year. And last year, it only had Charles Omenihu for about half the season as well. But the article itself says why the Chiefs need Charles Omenihu. Over the past few weeks, I think it's become more and more evident that the Chiefs' pass rush just isn't very good. At every opportunity, teams are double-teaming defensive tackle Chris Jones so he won't take over the game. No Kansas City player is punishing them for that. George Karlaftis has been in a slump for weeks. He has been ineffective in one-on-one matchups. Mike Danna has taken a step back. He's barely getting any pressure in or winning his one-on-ones. Felix Enudike Uzoma is giving his team nothing as a pass rusher. And he and Malik Herring are only being used as rotational run defenders. Joshua Uche was brought in to bring some juice to the pass rush, but so far he hasn't been winning. Aside from interior lineman Tershawn Wharton, nobody is stepping up to help Jones. This would be less of a problem if Watson was playing. Without him, it's been harder for the defense to play cover zero and blitz. Teams are targeting Najee Johnson. Trent McDuffie continues to play well, but behind him, the cornerback group is thin, and it is struggling. Only McDuffie and Johnson are seeing the field. In nickel and dime packages, the defense is playing additional safeties. And while these safeties are better than Joshua Williams or Christian Roland Wallace, only Chamari Connor is good in man coverage. Safeties Brian Cook, Justin Reed, and Jaden Hicks struggle to stay tight to receivers and work through traffic. So teams use tight ends and slot receivers to attack them. So Kansas City can't win with 4 pass rushers or hold up in coverage when it blitzes. Omenihu will help. It's easy to forget, but in 2023, he was a game changer. Omenihu was able to produce while playing on the outside or the inside. This helped Jones win from multiple spots and added versatility to the defensive line. Even Omenihu's batted passes were a significant factor. Hopefully, getting him back will help players like Karlaftis and Danna become better versions of themselves, and the Chiefs' defense become less dependent on blitzes. Let's take a second to look at what it was that Charles Omenihu brought to the Kansas City Chiefs last season. He had 7 sacks through 11 games and only 1 start. Adding to those 7 sacks, he had 28 tackles. He also forced 2 fumbles and batted down 2 passes. This guy, the main thing to know when you're looking at Charles Omenihu on the field is that he is massive. Very long arm reach, very big guy. He's tall, he is wide, he has that reach to get players. It's very underrated, him on the football field in that way. Also, we come down here and look at, in addition to those 7 sacks, he had 12 pressures last season and another 2 quarterback knockdowns and 2 hurries as well. Remember, that's all in 11 games. We're not talking about an entire season here. So I don't think that it's a question whether or not Isaiah Pacheco or Charles Omenihu will help the Kansas City Chiefs more when they come back. It's Charles Omenihu. Isaiah Pacheco for everything that he's done for the Kansas City Chiefs, he has been replaced admirably by Kareem Hunt, though Kareem Hunt's impact is waning in the past few weeks. He is averaging fewer and fewer yards per carry seemingly every week. He does always fall forward. There is no negative to having Kareem Hunt on the field. This Kansas City Chiefs defense has been rough. George Karlaftis and Chris Jones are both on pace to have much worse seasons than they did a year ago, each of them on pace to have fewer than half the sacks that they did last year. And in addition to sacks, George Karlaftis' proclivity for batting passes has gone away. Chris Jones disappears for large sections of games, even though I do think that Chris Jones has improved as a run defender, something that has given him problems in his career, and I don't think he's getting the credit for this season on that front. But this is, as the article alludes to, a double-edged sword in this fashion. The pass rush is not getting to the quarterback. So the quarterback gets to stand back there and decide to whom he wants to throw the ball. He gets to identify Trent McDuffie. He gets to figure out where it is that is going to be problematic in the defense and pick his spots. Now, without L'Jarius Sneed, he was traded away because there was no way the Chiefs were going to be able to sign both Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed. Without Jalen Watson because of injury, the cornerbacks cannot cover for very long. So the equation as far as the offense is concerned is a simple one. We just have to drop back and hold the ball for a few seconds. The Chiefs are not going to get to us via the blitz, and by that point, all of their coverage will have broken down, and we get to pick wherever it is that we want to throw the ball. It is troubling that it is so often Najee Johnson that happens to be the one making the tackle because he is closest in proximity to the person catching the ball. But we have to remember this was a 7th-round pick. This is a 7th-round pick who was a safety in college. This is a 7th-round pick who was a safety in college and spent all of last year injured. This is a 7th-round pick who was a safety in college, spent all of last year injured, and played basically only special teams as a rookie. So he's not a top-tier cornerback, and he is without a whole lot of practice on the field, Najee Johnson. Now, this is not an excuse, right? It's just simply stating the facts. The Kansas City Chiefs have poured assets into the cornerback position, and they've struck gold a couple times with L'Jarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie, but you don't get to hold on to that gold in the NFL. So sort of troubling for the cornerback position as well, but there's something else to look at when we're examining stats. 2023 sack leaders by team here. 57 sacks the Kansas City Chiefs had through the 2023 season. Now, you will notice the number one team there is the team that the Kansas City Chiefs played in the AFC Championship game. So, that is important to note. Figuring something out here for the next point to be made. The Dolphins were also in the playoffs, lost to the Chiefs. The Bills were also into the playoffs, similar fate. The Colts did not do as well. The Browns did not do as well. The 49ers, number 7 there, were in the Super Bowl with 48 sacks. Now, that is last season. The Kansas City Chiefs spent 2 years right up at the tippy top of the NFL in sack numbers. How are they doing through 2024 so far? They're 23rd. Look at those teams surrounding them. That is a much different neighborhood. The 49ers are still there, but the 49ers are not winning games. The Kansas City Chiefs this year are on pace to finish with 38 sacks this season. 38 compared to 57, down 19 sacks in a 17-game schedule. Absolute madness. Now, you're looking at teams instead of the Ravens and the Dolphins and Bills, who both went to the playoffs. You're looking at teams like the Saints, Jaguars, and Buccaneers probably not going to the playoffs. You have the Rams and 49ers down here as well. But I think, in my opinion, the return of Charles Omenihu could be transformative to this defense in a way even more so than it was last year for this Chiefs team. Remember, last year for this Chiefs defense, everything started to sort of come together late for this team. They were good all year long, but as the playoffs approached, and then in the playoffs, things got better for this team. This year's sort of the opposite. This year, everything started off well enough. You had Jalen Watson on the field, and it's strange that the injury to that one player could have such a devastating impact for this defense, which, the defense is still good, but it is not as solid as once it was. That's all I have for this video. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, consider hitting the subscribe button to stick around for more Kansas City Chiefs content in the future. And as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.